A teammate got wrecked. A car owner had the chance to defend him. Instead, he went on his own podcast and basically told the world his driver was wrong. That's exactly what happened this week in the Toyota camp, and if you think team loyalty means blind loyalty in NASCAR, Denny Hamlin just proved you wrong. Here's the situation in plain terms. Bubba Wallace crossed the line thinking he'd locked up a second-place finish at EchoPark Speedway. NASCAR saw it differently. Officials flagged him for dipping below the double yellow line on the final lap, and just like that, his numberstal, 23 Toyota, got dropped all the way to 29th. That wasn't even the worst part of his day. Earlier, during Stage 2, fellow Toyota driver Ty Gibbs turned Wallace's car, wrecking him and wiping out his shot at stage points. The two drivers went face-to-face after the race. Words were exchanged, and then Denny Hamlin, Wallace's own team co-owner, stepped in on his podcast and didn't take his driver's side. To understand why this stings, you have to understand the unwritten rules of Superspeedway racing. Manufacturer teammates are supposed to help each other. Toyota drivers drafting together, working together, protecting each other's track position. That's the expectation everyone in the garage operates under. It's not officially written in any rule book, but it might as well be law. So when Gibbs turned Wallace and Wallace confronted him afterward, this wasn't just a random on-track scuffle. This was a crack in the Toyota alliance playing out in public, with the car owner himself weighing in. But here's what makes it worse for 23XI Racing. This wasn't Wallace's only frustration of the day. He'd already been knocked out of contention for a strong finish because of the penalty. Losing stage points to a teammate on top of that penalty turns a rough day into a genuinely bad one. For a team still building its identity and still fighting for respect at the Cup Series level, public infighting is the last thing they need. Now let's break down what Hamlin actually said, because this is where it gets interesting. Hamlin didn't just excuse Gibbs, he explained the physics and the etiquette of superspeedway blocking, and in doing so, he essentially told Wallace his expectation was unrealistic. His argument boils down to this. If you throw a late block, you are accepting the risk that comes with it. You cannot pull out in front of a car with a big run and expect that driver to lift. Asking a competitor to sacrifice their own momentum to protect your position isn't a fair request. It's asking them to give up their shot to preserve yours. That is a bold thing for a team owner to say about his own driver, especially in a public setting like a podcast with a big audience. Strategically, this tells us something important about how Hamlin runs 23XI. He's not interested in manufacturing false unity. He wants his drivers racing hard, but he also wants them racing smart, and he's willing to call out his own guy if he thinks the ask was unreasonable. There's real risk in that approach. Publicly siding against your driver, even in a nuanced way, can create tension inside the shop. Wallace could easily feel like his own boss threw him under the bus during a week where he was already dealing with a brutal penalty. That's a fragile moment for team chemistry. But there's also an upside. Hamlin didn't stop at Wallace. He also called out Tyler Reddick, his other driver, for late blocking that forced competitors to lift. That consistency matters. This isn't Hamlin picking on one driver. It's Hamlin setting a standard for how he wants both of his cars racing on super speedways, regardless of who benefits. Is that smart or dangerous? Honestly, it's both. It's smart because it protects the team's long-term reputation with other manufacturer teams and other drivers on the circuit. Nobody wants to race alongside a team known for reckless, entitled blocking. But it's dangerous because driver confidence and trust in ownership can erode fast if drivers feel like they're being publicly second-guessed after a hard day. Expect a split reaction here. Some fans will applaud Hamlin for being honest instead of playing team politics. In a sport where loyalty talk often gets thrown around without substance, a car owner actually explaining racing etiquette instead of blindly backing his driver is going to earn respect from purists. Other fans, especially Wallace supporters, are going to see this differently. They'll point out that Wallace was already having a miserable day with the penalty, and now his own team boss is publicly agreeing that his frustration wasn't fully justified. That's a tough pill to swallow, and social media is not going to be gentle about it. Media coverage will likely frame this as a crack in 23XI's internal unity, especially with playoff implications looming. Best case scenario, Wallace and Gibbs clear the air. Hamlin's comments get treated as tough but fair coaching, and the whole thing becomes a footnote that actually strengthens communication between Toyota teammates going forward. Worst case scenario, this becomes the first visible crack in a growing rift. Wallace feels unsupported by ownership, tension with Gibbs lingers into future Superspeedway races, and 23XI heads into the postseason dealing with distractions they can't afford. Given how much is riding on stage points and finishing position with the playoffs approaching, neither team can afford unresolved friction. So here's the real question. Was Denny Hamlin right to call out his own driver in public, or should team owners always back their guys no matter what? Drop your take in the comments. Are you Team Wallace on this one, or Team Hamlin? If you want more no-filter breakdowns like this one, make sure you subscribe, because this Toyota storyline is far from over.